Alright, so we got the car moved out and we got the truck moved in, and today we are going to be installing some new Rancho shocks on the rear end of this truck. I mentioned in another video before that I had some that were ready to be installed, so here they are right here. These are my old shocks. Right now I'm running the OEM shock just because these got so bad that, and I was waiting on these ones to get here, that I had to switch it out. So these got pretty good usage on them. I snapped this adjustment but right before I took it off, just trying to adjust, like, it was such a bad ride. I wanted to see if I just adjusted the dampening, and then it just snapped off. So I got 3 years out of these things, probably close to 60, maybe 50,000 miles, and yeah, they did really well. And that's usually that's usually about the life of these, especially when you live country, mile roads, all that kind of stuff, hammering washboard, which I try not to do, but it does happen. It is expected. So these are new shocks. I'm gonna go ahead and unbox it, and then we will go over them. And so these are their new line of shocks, these RS 7MTs. Rancho had just released them not too long ago, sometime last year, and you can tell right away these are more of a compact. The shock body itself is way more compact than these ones. These are really bulk, and I'm not sure if that means that these are sturdier. I don't think that necessarily means that. There's a lot, like if you look at the brochure of these shocks, they have a lot of information stated about them, basically saying that they can handle -40 weather to plus 250 degrees Fahrenheit kind of thing. There's no shock fade on them like they have. Well, no, I shouldn't say there's no shock fade on them. They don't fade as fast as other shocks. And there's a whole bunch of technology that's built into these shocks, and I'll link these shocks in the description below so you guys can have a look for yourself. But other stuff stated is that you don't need to have a shock boot cover on these ones, and you can see that gasket is a tight fit around. So it does say there is no need for a shock boot. I mean, you can obviously just still run one if you want, but these ones clearly needed one. I didn't. Whoops, I zoomed in right there. I didn't have one on these, so like a lot of debris just started getting down there. And I mean, these shocks are 3 years old. They have a lot of mileage on them. Like these didn't wear prematurely. These saw the end of their life, and now it's just time to upgrade. I had initially like plasti dipped these white, and I went ahead and I plasti dipped these white just to prevent the pitting and the stone chipping from rusting the whole bottom of the body out, which seems to have helped a bit. And then I put a Rancho sticker on it just to keep that name. So these ones I'm not going to do anything with. These have like a bit of plastic covering on the bottom of it. You can kind of see it right here. So I'm hoping that because this is where your rust really builds up really badly. It's kind of on the bottom here where you have a lot of rocks hitting it, and from the highway and all that stuff. So we're gonna leave it as is this time, and we're just gonna go ahead and install them. These already, like, these feel like, I don't know if you can hear that. They just feel sturdier. So I didn't use like these ones had the dampening, so you can do soft or hard. I didn't use them a whole lot. Like, I mean, I guess you're a guy that's towing a lot, maybe they would come in handy, but I didn't touch these a lot. So these ones do not have it. I'm not too terribly concerned about it. So we're gonna get the camera set up, and we're basically we're gonna leave the wheels on, the tires and the wheels, and we're just gonna shoot from down here, and it's just one bolt on the bottom there of the, and one right here up top. So this is probably one of the easier jobs you can do for your vehicle, your truck. Cars are a lot harder. Changing out your rear coil, or your rear shock, typically referred to as a coilover. But for a truck, we are very lucky that it's just a bolt there, and you can even do it with, I think I can manage to do it with everything in place, not having to jack the truck or take off the wheels. So we're gonna get right into it, and then when I have all my tools ready, I'll let you guys know kind of what I'm using, so you can get the right tools ready when you're ready to do the job yourself. All right, so all we'll need for this job is a 15 mil socket, an 18 mil socket, and we're gonna have a crescent wrench just in case we have trouble getting the socket or the impact on one of the bolts. We can just hold it down with a crescent wrench. I know it's pretty puny. It's the only one I could find. I know I have a bigger one somewhere. So, I don't know. The way mine's set up is that I'm gonna have to alternate between using the drill on the top and the socket, and then I'm gonna have to flip the sockets around because I won't be able to get this behind the wheel. So both my 50 millimeter bolts are facing towards the outside of the truck, and both my 18 mil bolts are facing on the inside of the truck. I'm not too sure if that's how they all come, or if that's just sort of the way I positioned one of the bolts when I installed the shocks back on last time. So it's not a big deal. Just a heads up that you might not be seeing the same thing I am, but it's a 50 and 18 mil socket regardless. Your orientation just might be a little bit different than mine. So we're gonna go ahead and put the 18 mil on the back side here of the shock, and then just zip it off. Just like that. Take the socket out. Take the bolt out. So when I do that, the shock's already wanting to expand. And then we'll go ahead and I will move the camera something like that. Good way to destroy the bolt head. Don't do what I do. So just like that, we got the shock out, no problem. So these shocks are the same length basically for your OEM one. That's why I was saying like it's a direct placement for your OEM. Obviously these will be a lot better of a ride. I do believe that Rancho does make the OEM shock for most, especially for the FX4 packages. I think they make, on the FX4 packages, the rear shocks are from Rancho. But these are mass produced, obviously, so I don't think they'd be as good as a niche off-road shock like this one itself. So we're going to go ahead and grab one. There's no left or right as far as I'm concerned. I'm actually going to start with the top bolt, get this put in, and then I'm going to just hand thread this nut on for now. That way when we're underneath, we can push up on the shock, and then we don't have to worry about this sliding or going anywhere. We know it's lined up. So we're gonna get underneath, and then we're gonna push on the shock. We're gonna put this in place first, so I'll do that right now. Where's my other bolt? This is the worst part about working on vehicles, is how easily you misplace something. So you're always scrambling to figure out where you just put something down. So we're gonna put it the same way we took it out. 15 meter bolt there, and we'll put the nut on. And then that happens too, all the time. And I don't know where that one went. Right here. It takes just the funniest bounces. You think it's somewhere else, and it's not even close to where you thought it went. Okay, so we got the back side, or the top mounted in there, and then we're gonna go to the bottom here. So make sure you have your bolt ready to slide in. And I don't know what I did with that other nut. Like I said, things just walk away when you're working on vehicles, and I don't know where that other nut got to. But anyways, we don't need it right now. Oh shoot, it's still in the impact. See, like, man, I swear. All right, so we're gonna put some force on this, and it's got a lot of pressure on it. So if you have two guys to help you with this, then I definitely suggest that. So we're going to try to get this lined up. I have to go a little bit higher here. It's already starting to decompress. Even if I had like a crowbar to kind of get into there, but we'll make do without. So I want to get it the same as I had it before. I wonder if I should just put this side in. That way it's a little bit easier to see. So I'm going to go from this side on this one. No! No. And once you get started, the rest should be pretty easy. Nice hammer. I should have brought something to do that, but I'll do it for the other side. Okay, so we got it in, and like I said, if you have another guy that like this would be very easy. You could definitely manage yourself, and if you want to get a jack, or you don't have the strength to do that, I'm sure there are other ways that make it easier. Or just take the wheel off. Or I could have just simply jacked up my rear end a little bit, I guess, but we like to struggle here, so we're going to leave it at that. So I'm going to switch the sockets around here. Since my 18 mil bolt is on the backside now, the only concern I would have with the nut being on this side is I could see this side getting more contaminants on it, and maybe over time this nut would rust because it's more exposed to the wheel. Sorry about that. Which would throw more salt, sand, and whatever else. So maybe over time this side will rust out a little bit faster, but I don't know. I don't see that happening. Especially with how often I kind of tinker with my truck, so we are going to leave it like that. And the crescent wrench is just good to make sure everything is tight. And there's obviously torque specs on all this, but we're just going to go with tight, and that's tight. So I can't even budge that. So I should probably check. I don't know if these shocks even came with instructions, but I imagine there would be a torque spec on this. But that is tight, and we will leave it like that for now. And then we'll go do the top. Same thing with that one. Let's go with really tight. Oh. Do a little bit more here. And that is tight. So there it is. I like that the kind of piston is chrome. Like, it's a nicer chrome. I think the 3-inch Rancho kit had more of a. This was more of a black, like a black chrome. But I like that it's kind of got that chrome look. It looks a little bit flashier, and I like how small and compact these shock bodies are too. So that looks really nice. Obviously, this one will look a little bit better because this shock is kind of angling out on the backside of the axle. But we will get the last one installed there, and then we will reconvene. Okay, so both sides are in now. This side took me less time than the other side, so it took me 5 minutes to put this on. Like I said, the hardest part is just to actually push the shock up yourself. I could have made this easier on myself by using using this thing right here, which I have readily available, but I opted not to do it. I wanted to make it hard for myself. And no, I didn't. I just wanted to show you guys that it is that easy to install. You don't need any tool other than an 18 to 15 mil. That's kind of the goal here, is to try to make it on as easy as I can on people. And if you have a jack, then that would make it easier, but not everyone has that readily available, especially on a lifted truck. Like, I'm not sure if my factory jack, I guess I'd have to go on my my pumpkin and my axle there, but anyways. So what I'll do now is I'll go and test drive this truck now. I'm not going to do it today. My truck's pretty clean right now, and it's pretty wet outside because everything's kind of melting right now. So I won't do anything today, but I will do a review video in 3 or 4 months, and because I have that good comparison, I've been riding on the OEM shocks for a while. I just did a whole trip to Montana on the OEM shocks, so I still have that good comparison right away. If these are a much better ride than the OEM shocks, and there's some pretty chewed up railway tracks that I have to cross, usually leaving my place, so it's pretty like violent on there. So these will be a good test to see how well it absorbs in the rear end on something like that. So thanks again, Rancho Suspension, for sending me those. And if you guys haven't had a chance to check out any of their product, I highly suggest the 3-inch lift kit that they sell. It is night and day. It's such a good kit. You can get a more aggressive stance on your truck with your wheel offset and all that stuff, and you don't have to cut anything. There's no cutting required, no subframe cutting. It's like the highest you can kind of go before you start having to cut your truck apart to do a drop differential bracket and all that kind of stuff. If you have a 2-wheel drive truck, then obviously that's not an issue, but for a 4x4, the 3-inch Rancho lift kit is perfect, and I highly suggest that you guys go check it out if you're in the market for a lift kit for your truck. So stay tuned for that review video, guys. Thanks a lot, Rancho Suspension, and thank you guys for being here, and I will see you guys in the next one.